First contact gone wrong. The quantum sensors aboard the UES Discovery weren't supposed to malfunction. Dr. Sarah Chen had personally calibrated them before their deep space mission began. Yet here they were, screaming alerts about impossible energy readings appearing just beyond Saturn's orbit. She ran another diagnostic, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays floating above her station. "Captain Martinez," she called out, trying to keep her voice steady. "You need to see this." Captain Elena Martinez crossed the bridge of the research vessel in quick strides, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the ship's instruments. The Discovery had been mapping gravitational anomalies in the outer solar system for the past 6 months, but nothing in their mission parameters had prepared them for this. "Talk to me, Dr. Chen. What are we looking at?" The readings suggest a massive distortion in spacetime, approximately 2 million kilometers from our position. It's like something's tearing through the fabric of space itself. The bridge crew fell silent as a massive shape emerged from what could only be described as a wound in reality. The vessel that appeared dwarfed the Discovery, its hull composed of what looked like living metal that shifted and rippled like mercury. More ships followed, dozens of them, their designs completely alien to human eyes. "All stations, yellow alert," Martins ordered, her training kicking in despite the unprecedented situation. "Communications, send an emergency burst transmission to Earth Command. Dr. Chen, full sensor sweep. I want to know everything about these vessels." Before the crew could comply, every screen on the bridge flickered to life with the same image. A humanoid figure with gray-silver skin and multiple sets of eyes arranged in a geometric pattern. When it spoke, its words were somehow perfectly translated into English. "Humans of Sol System," the figure announced, its voice carrying an artificial resonance that made the crew's teeth ache. "We are the Vex Collective. Your existence has been noted. Your civilization has been evaluated. You will submit to integration or face immediate termination." Martinez straightened in her captain's chair, her mind racing. First contact protocols had never anticipated something this aggressive, this direct. "This is Captain Elena Martins of the United Earth Ship Discovery. We are a peaceful research vessel. Perhaps we cooled." "Your designation is irrelevant," the Vex representative interrupted. "You have 30 of your Earth minutes to signal your species surrender. Failure to comply will result in the cleansing of your solar system." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Martins turned to her tactical officer. "How many ships are we looking at?" 217, Captain. Each one at least destroyer class or larger, based on their energy signatures. They're positioning themselves in an attack formation. Martins hit the emergency broadcast button on her chair. "This is Captain Martinez to all hands. What we do in the next 30 minutes may well determine the fate of our species. I need everyone at their stations, doing their jobs with the precision and excellence I know you're capable of." We are railguns that Martinez was familiar with. Instead, they fired what appeared to be concentrated points of quantum probability, literally unwriting portions of the Vex ships from reality. The Vex fleet, for all their superior numbers and technological advancement, found themselves facing an enemy that had spent decades preparing for exactly this kind of encounter. Humanity had known they weren't alone in the universe, and they had planned accordingly. "This is Admiral Wong to the Vex Collective." The transmission cut through all frequencies. "Perhaps we should discuss the terms of your surrender." The battle that followed lasted less than 10 minutes. The Vex ships, despite their impressive size and apparent power, couldn't counter weapons they couldn't predict. Human vessels phased in and out of reality, striking from impossible angles, their quantum weaponry ignoring conventional shields and armor. Dr. Chen's hands flew across her console as she recorded everything. "Captain, the Vex ships. Their hulls are adapting, trying to compensate for our weapons, but they can't seem to predict where the next attack will come from. It's like we're using weapons based on pure probability." Martinez watched as another Vex destroyer vanished, not through explosion or destruction, but by being selectively removed from their timeline. We weren't as defenseless as they thought, she murmured. All this time, Earth was preparing. The Vex commander's face appeared on their screens again, but this time the artificial confidence was gone. How? It demanded. Your species was rated as pre-FTL. Your technology was assessed as primitive. This is impossible. Admiral Wong's response was calm, almost pleasant. You made the mistake of assuming that just because we hadn't left our solar system, we weren't advancing. Humanity has a long history of preparing for threats, especially ones we can't see coming. Your ships are impressive, but they follow the laws of physics. We decided to work around them instead. The battle ended as suddenly as it had begun. The remaining Vex ships, less than a quarter of their original number, engaged their drives and fled through the same spatial tiers they had arrived through. The human fleet made no move to pursue them. All ships maintain battle stations, Admiral Wong ordered. Captain Martinez, please bring the Discovery to the flagship. I believe it's time we had a conversation about humanity's place in the galaxy. As the research vessel changed course, Martinez looked around her bridge. Her crew, who had started their day conducting routine scientific observations, had just witnessed humanity's true first step onto the galactic stage. It hadn't come through peaceful exploration as they'd hoped, but through the demonstration of a simple truth: never underestimate a species that had spent its entire history preparing for the worst. Dr. Chen, Martine said quietly, I believe we're going to need to modify our mission parameters. Something tells me we're about to get some new areas of space to study. Chen nodded, still staring at her readings. Captain, do you think they'll be back? Martinez watched as the quantum probability drives of the human fleet pulsed in synchronization, maintaining their defensive screen around Earth. Maybe. But next time, they'll know better than to demand our surrender. She smiled slightly. After all, humanity doesn't take kindly to ultimatums. The UES Discovery moved through the debris field of what had been the Vex fleet's front line, its sensors recording everything for future analysis. Behind them, Earth's hidden guardians maintained their vigilant watch, a stark reminder that sometimes the best defense isn't the one you can see, but the one your enemies never knew existed until it was too late. The hidden fleet. Admiral Helena Wong stood in the observation deck of the UES Hyperion, Earth's most advanced warship, watching as Captain Martinez's research vessel approached. The massive window showed not just the visible spectrum, but quantum probability streams that flowed through space like rivers of light. Behind her, holographic displays showed the ongoing deployment of the Heimdall fleet across the solar system. They never saw us coming, Commander Jack Russell said, stepping up beside her. His dark skin contrasted with the white of his uniform, medallions of quantum mechanics and theoretical physics pinned to his chest. 20 years of preparation, and the Vex didn't detect a single ship. Helena nodded, remembering the day everything changed. 2 decades ago, a quantum telescope in Antarctica had detected something that shouldn't have been possible: evidence of systematic stellar engineering in nearby star systems. The images showed entire solar systems being dismantled and rebuilt. That discovery had changed humanity's trajectory forever. Signal from the Discovery, Admiral, the communications officer announced. They're ready for docking. Clear them for approach, Helena ordered, and get me a secure channel to the Defense Council. They'll want an update on the Vex encounter. As the Discovery maneuvered into one of the Hyperion's massive docking bays, Helena reflected on how they'd kept the fleet hidden for so long. The quantum probability drives didn't just allow for faster-than-light travel. They let ships exist in multiple states simultaneously, effectively invisible, until they needed to fully materialize. Captain Martinez and Dr. Chen were escorted to the Hyperion's command center, their eyes wide as they took in technology that had been theoretical just hours ago. The room was a marvel of human engineering, with displays showing real-time quantum calculations and probability matrices for the entire solar system. Welcome aboard humanity's true first line of defense, Helena said, extending her hand. I apologize for the secrecy, but Project Heimdall needed to remain hidden until absolutely necessary. The quantum weapons, Dr. Chen blurted out, her scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. They weren't destroying the Vex ships. They were editing them out of probability itself. Commander Russell smiled. Precisely. Conventional weapons follow conventional physics. We needed something the enemy couldn't adapt to. The quantum probability manipulators don't just attack ships. They attack the very possibility of those ships existing in that space-time configuration. But the resources needed for this, Martins gestured at the fleet visible through the command center's windows. The manufacturing capabilities alone were handled by the quantum fabrication networks, Helena explained. We didn't build these ships. We calculated them into existence, using probability manipulation to ensure they would manifest exactly as needed. Every ship you see represents a perfect probability solution, maintained by continuous quantum observation. The command center's main display lit up with an incoming transmission from Earth. The face of Defense Council Chairman Zhang appeared, his expression grave. Admiral Wang, the Council is convening an emergency session. The Vex attack has forced our hand. It's time for Phase 2. Helena straightened. Sir, are you sure? The psychological impact on the civilian population cannot be helped, Zhang interrupted. The Vex will return, and next time they'll be prepared. We need to activate all of it. The Jupiter shipyards, the Mars defense grid, everything. No more shadows, no more hiding. A series of new contacts appeared on the tactical display. Massive structures throughout the solar system beginning to phase into normal spacetime. Orbital platforms around every planet. Shipyards hidden in gas-giant atmospheres. Research stations buried in asteroid cores. Humanity's hidden infrastructure was revealing itself. Dr. Chen gasped as the data streamed across her tablet. These energy readings, you've been industrializing the entire solar system in secret. The missing resources, the unexplained astronomical phenomena, were all part of Project Heimdall. Commander Russell confirmed. We couldn't risk conventional construction methods. The quantum probability drives let us build in parallel timelines, only consolidating the results when everything was perfect. Helena moved to the central command station, her hands dancing across the quantum interface. All Heimdall units, this is Admiral Wang. Initiative Reveal is now in effect. Bring all facilities to full manifestation. Deploy defense grids as planned. The shadow war is over. Now we stand in the light. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden strength emerged. Massive defense platforms materialized in precise orbital positions, their quantum cores pulsing with power. Shipyards larger than cities phased into reality, already beginning construction of new vessels using probability manipulation. The Vex thought they found a primitive species barely able to reach their own moon, Helena said, watching the transformation of their solar system. Instead, they found a civilization that had spent 20 years preparing for exactly this moment. We knew first contact would likely be hostile. Our own history taught us that lesson. Captain Martinez studied the tactical displays, her military training helping her grasp the strategic implications. These defense systems, they're not just meant to fight the Vex, are they? You've prepared for multiple scenarios, multiple types of threats. The quantum probability engines let us simulate millions of possible first contact scenarios, Commander Russell explained. We prepared for each one. The Vex just happened to be the first to trigger our contingency plans. The command center hummed with activity as reports flooded in from newly revealed facilities across the solar system. Quantum computers processed probability streams, adjusting defenses, and reorganizing fleet positions based on calculated threat potentials. Sir, a tactical officer called out, long-range quantum sensors are detecting disturbances in nearby star systems. The Vex are mobilizing. Helena nodded, unsurprised. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. But this time, they'll face humanity at its full strength. She turned to Martinez and Chen. Your ship's sensors recorded everything from the first encounter. We'll need that data to refine our quantum probability calculations. The next battle won't be about surprising them. It'll be about overwhelming them. As if to emphasize her words, a new ship emerged from the Jupiter shipyards, its hull still flickering with quantum probability effects. Unlike the earlier vessels, this one was massive, a capital ship designed with the knowledge gained from the first engagement. That, Commander Russell said proudly, is the UES Prometheus, the first of our Titan-class quantum battleships. When the Vex return, they'll find that humanity has no intention of remaining hidden anymore. Helena watched as more ships began emerging from probability space, each one a testament to human ingenuity and determination. They had hidden in the shadows, preparing for this moment. But now it was time to show the galaxy exactly what humanity was capable of. The age of secrecy was over. The age of humanity's emergence had begun, turning the tide. The quantum probability streams around Jupiter rippled with disturbance as the Vex invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace. This time, they came with over 1,000 ships, their hulls modified with new countermeasures designed to resist quantum manipulation. The living metal of their vessels had been reinforced with what appeared to be probability shielding, crude, but evidence they'd learned from their first defeat. Admiral Wong watched from the bridge of the Prometheus as the enemy fleet took up attack positions. The massive quantum battleship hung in space near Europa, surrounded by the now visible might of humanity's defense force. The hidden fleet had grown substantially in the week since the first encounter, quantum fabrication facilities working at full capacity to prepare for this moment. They've adapted faster than we anticipated, Commander Russell noted, studying the sensor readings. Those probability shields, they're trying to counter our quantum weapons. But they're still thinking linearly, Dr. Chen interjected. The quantum physicist had been officially transferred to the Prometheus, her expertise proving invaluable. Look at the shield harmonics. They're trying to defend against what we did last time, not what we could do. Helena smiled. The Vex had indeed learned from their first encounter, but they'd learned the wrong lessons. They'd prepared for the weapons humanity had revealed, not understanding that those were just the surface of what quantum probability manipulation could achieve. All ships, Battle Formation Omega, Helena broadcast to the fleet. Initiate quantum entanglement protocols. The human fleet moved with impossible synchronization, each ship linking its quantum core with its neighbors. Energy flowed between vessels in patterns that defied conventional physics, creating a web of probability that encompassed the entire battlefield. The Vex commander's transmission came as expected, its multiple eyes arranged in a now familiar geometric pattern. Your deception has been noted, humans. You hid your true capabilities, believing surprise would grant you victory. That advantage is gone. Surrender now, and your species may yet survive as part of the collective. Helena's response was calm, almost amused. You still don't understand what you're facing. Last time, we showed you what our ships could do individually. Now, let us demonstrate what they can do together. She nodded to Commander Russell, who activated the fleet-wide quantum synchronization matrix. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The human ships didn't just coordinate their actions. They began to exist as a single quantum state, their probability fields merging into something entirely new. The Vex fleet opened fire, their energy weapons modified to disrupt quantum fields. But their targets weren't there, or rather, they existed in too many places simultaneously to be hit. The human fleet had achieved what theoretical physicists had once called macro-scale quantum superposition. Quantum convergence at 100%, Russell reported. The fleet is ready, Admiral. Helena took a deep breath. What they were about to attempt had never been tested in actual combat. Begin probability cascade. The space around Jupiter lit up as hundreds of human ships acted as one quantum system. They didn't fire conventional weapons or even the probability editing beams from the first battle. Instead, they began to alter the fundamental nature of space-time itself within the combat zone. The Vex ships found themselves fighting an enemy that didn't just bend the rules of physics, It rewrote them entirely. Their probability shields, designed to resist specific quantum attacks, were useless against an opponent that could change the very mathematical foundations those shields relied on. Their fleet is fracturing, Dr. Chen reported, watching the quantum sensors. The space between their ships, it's becoming probabilistically unstable. They can't maintain formation because the laws of motion themselves are becoming uncertain in those regions. The Vex attempted to adapt, their living metal hulls shifting and reforming to counter the changing conditions, but they were trying to fight something that transcended ordinary tactical responses. Humanity wasn't just using advanced technology. They were wielding uncertainty itself as a weapon. Warning, the tactical officer called out, detecting massive energy buildup in the Vex flagship. They're attempting some kind of dimensional pulse. The enemy flagship, a massive vessel at the heart of their formation, began to glow with an inner light that hurt the eyes to look at. The Vex were attempting to stabilize local space-time by brute force, trying to impose their own version of reality. Helena had anticipated something like this. Activate the quantum resonance cascade. The Prometheus's quantum core pulsed, the signal spreading through the entangled human fleet. Each ship became a node in a vast quantum computation, their combined processing power focused on a single task: the mathematical destabilization of the Vex's attempted reality enforcement. What followed wasn't really a battle in any conventional sense. It was more like two different versions of physics trying to occupy the same space. The Vex sought to impose order and predictability, while the human fleet expanded the boundary of what was possible. In the end, uncertainty won. The Vex flagship's attempt to stabilize space-time backfired spectacularly as the quantum resonance cascade introduced too many variables for their systems to process. Ships began disappearing from normal space-time, not destroyed but shifted into probability states where they simply couldn't exist as functional vessels. Enemy fleet is in full retreat, Russell announced, though the words seemed inadequate to describe what was happening. Their remaining ships are attempting to break free of our quantum field. Helena watched as the Vex fled, their once mighty armada reduced to barely 100 ships, all of them damaged not by weapons, but by exposure to fundamental uncertainty. The human fleet had taken minimal losses, protected by their unified quantum field. Send to Earth Command, she ordered. Phase 2 completed successfully. The Vex threat has been neutralized, but she paused, considering the implications of what they'd just demonstrated. But I believe we need to prepare for wider consequences. We haven't just revealed our military capability. We've shown the galaxy that humanity has mastered quantum mechanics on a scale that changes everything. Dr. Chen was already analyzing the battle data, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. Admiral, the quantum effects we generated, they'll be detectable across thousands of light years. Every spacefaring race in this sector of the galaxy will know something unprecedented happened here. Helena nodded, watching as her fleet reformed into its defensive position, the quantum entanglement field still humming with potential. Then let them come, she said quietly. Humanity stayed hidden while we prepared. Now it's time to take our place among the stars, not as victims or subjects, but as pioneers of a new understanding of reality itself. The Prometheus's quantum core pulsed steadily as cleanup operations began, its crew already calculating the probability streams of what would come next. They had turned the tide against the Vex, but this was just the beginning. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage in a way that couldn't be ignored, wielding power that would change the very nature of interstellar civilization. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations were about to learn that the supposedly primitive species from Sol had mastered the art of weaponized uncertainty itself. The last stand. The quantum sensors throughout the solar system activated simultaneously, their warnings echoing across every human command center from Mercury to the Kuiper Belt. This time, the Vex weren't emerging from a single point. They were tearing holes in reality all around the solar system, appearing in massive numbers that dwarfed their previous attacks. Admiral Wong stood in the Hyperion's Strategic Command Center, watching as thousands of red dots appeared on the tactical display. The Vex had returned with what appeared to be their entire species' military might. The living metal of their ships had been modified again, this time incorporating technology that seemed to be borrowed from multiple alien civilizations. "They're desperate," Commander Russell observed, his voice tight. "These aren't just Vex ships anymore. Look at the energy signatures. They've integrated technology from at least 3 other spacefaring races." Dr. Chen's fingers flew across her quantum interface. The Vex have stripped their probability shielding. They're routing all power to weapons, and what appears to be some kind of reality anchor system. Before Helena could respond, every communication system in the solar system activated at once. The face that appeared wasn't the usual Vex commander. This being seemed older, its metallic skin etched with complex patterns that shifted and moved like living circuits. "Humans of Sol," the entity spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that made quantum sensors fluctuate wildly. "I am the first mind of the Vex Collective. You have forced us to this extremity. Your mastery of quantum uncertainty threatens the very fabric of ordered spacetime. We cannot allow this to continue." Helena stepped forward, her voice steady. "This is Admiral Wong of the United Earth Fleet. Your attacks on our system have failed twice. Surrender now, and we can discuss terms." The first mind's expression shifted in a way that might have been amusement. "You believe this is about conquest, about territory. Your species has achieved something that should be impossible: control over quantum probability itself. You don't understand the danger you represent to the galaxy." Suddenly, the tactical displays lit up as the Vex fleet began to move. But instead of attacking, their ships were arranging themselves in a massive geometric pattern around the solar system. Energy began to flow between them, creating a web of interconnected fields. "By the stars," Dr. Chen whispered, staring at her readings. "They're trying to create a reality lock, a field that would freeze quantum probability itself within our solar system. They want to stop us from using our technology by making uncertainty impossible within our space." The implications hit Helena like a physical blow. The Vex weren't trying to conquer Earth, they were trying to quarantine it, to lock humanity's quantum technology away where it couldn't spread to the rest of the galaxy. "All ships, battle stations," Helena ordered, her mind racing through probability calculations. "Initiate quantum entanglement protocols. But this time, we're not just linking the fleet, we're connecting to every quantum-capable device in the solar system." The human response began immediately. Ships, stations, and defense platforms synchronized their quantum cores. But this time, they were joined by the massive quantum computers hidden beneath the surface of every major human settlement, the research facilities scattered through the asteroid belt, and even the quantum probability engines that powered their industrial base. The first mind's voice carried a note of genuine concern. "You cannot be allowed to continue manipulating the fundamental forces of reality. The galaxy operates on order, on predictability. Your quantum technology introduces too much chaos into the equation." Helena smiled grimly. "That's where you're wrong. We haven't introduced chaos. We've simply learned to work with the uncertainty that was always there. Humanity didn't break reality. We just stopped pretending we could control it." She nodded to Commander Russell, who activated their countermeasure. Every quantum-capable system in the solar system began to pulse in perfect synchronization, creating a probability field that encompassed not just their local space, but reached out to touch the very edges of their star's influence. The Vex reality lock began to engage, trying to impose absolute determinism on local spacetime. For a moment, quantum fluctuations throughout the solar system seemed to freeze, probability itself grinding to a halt. But then something unexpected happened. The human quantum network didn't fight against the reality lock. Instead, it began to work with it, using the Vex's own attempt at imposing order to create something entirely new. "Status report," Helena called out as reality itself seemed to shudder around them. Dr. Chen's voice was filled with wonder. The Vex are trying to eliminate quantum uncertainty from our space, but our network is using their energy to create a controlled quantum domain. We're not fighting their reality lock. We're incorporating it into our own quantum matrix. The first mine's image flickered as its fleet's energy began to be absorbed and redirected by the human quantum network. Impossible. You cannot control both certainty and uncertainty simultaneously. The mathematics work fine. Helena interrupted. You just never considered that order and chaos could coexist. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt, to find balance in apparent contradictions. Throughout the solar system, the human quantum network continued to grow, absorbing the Vex's reality lock into itself. Instead of fighting against their attempt to impose order, humanity's quantum systems were using that very order to create new forms of controlled uncertainty. The Vex fleet began to break formation as their reality lock was turned against them. Ships found themselves caught in probability fields that were both perfectly predictable and utterly chaotic, their systems unable to cope with the paradox. Their fleet is losing coherence, Russell reported. The integration of foreign technology is breaking down under the quantum stress. They didn't just borrow that technology. They stole it, and now it's failing them. The first mine's transmission became increasingly unstable. You don't understand what you've done. The galaxy needs order, structure, predictability. What you've created here, it will change everything. Helena stepped closer to the transmission pickup. That's exactly right. We will change everything. But not through conquest or control, through understanding. Humanity has learned to dance with uncertainty itself, and we're willing to teach others to do the same. The Vex fleet began to retreat, their ships literally falling apart as the borrowed technology they'd relied on failed under the strain of humanity's quantum field. But unlike previous battles, they weren't just running away. They were running from something they fundamentally couldn't understand. As the last Vex ships disappeared into their reality tiers, Helena turned to her crew. Send word to Earth Command. The immediate threat is over, but we need to prepare for what comes next. The galaxy now knows not just that we exist, but that we've mastered something they thought impossible. Dr. Chen was already analyzing the data from the battle. Admiral, the quantum field we created, it's stable. We've actually managed to create a permanent domain where certainty and uncertainty coexist in perfect balance. The scientific implications alone will change everything. Helena finished, just like the first mind said. But maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs, a reminder that the universe isn't just about order or chaos, but about finding harmony between the two. The human fleet began to stand down from battle stations, but the quantum network they'd created continued to pulse with potential. They had faced the Vex's last stand and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. Humanity had proven itself capable of not just wielding quantum uncertainty, but of finding balance in the very fabric of reality itself. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations were receiving the data from this battle, learning that the supposedly primitive species from Sol had not just mastered uncertainty, they had learned to make peace with it. A new dawn. 3 months after the final Vex incursion, the Sol system had transformed. The quantum probability field now stretched from the sun's core to the edges of the Oort cloud, a permanent testament to humanity's achievement. Ships from a dozen alien civilizations hung in high orbit around Earth, their crews here to witness what many were calling the greatest technological revolution since the discovery of faster-than-light travel. Admiral Helena Wong stood in the newly constructed Quantum Diplomatic Center in Geneva, watching through quantum-enhanced windows as representatives from various species filed into the Grand Chamber. The building itself was a marvel of human engineering, its structure existing in a carefully controlled state of quantum flux that made it appear both ancient and new simultaneously. The Arcturian delegation has arrived, Commander Russell reported, now wearing the formal dress uniform of the United Earth Diplomatic Corps. That makes 17 species in total. Even the Vex sent an observer. Helena nodded, noting the familiar metallic sheen of a Vex diplomatic drone among the assembled aliens. After their defeat, the collective had undergone significant internal changes. The first mind's warnings about humanity's quantum technology had proven both right and wrong. It had indeed changed everything, but not in the way they'd feared. Dr. Chen's presentation is ready, Russell continued. The quantum sharing protocols have been tested and approved by all participating species. The quantum sharing protocols were perhaps humanity's greatest gift to the galactic community. Rather than hoarding their breakthroughs, Earth had chosen to teach others how to safely work with quantum uncertainty. It wasn't just technology they were sharing. It was a new way of thinking about reality itself. The chamber quieted as Dr. Sarah Chen took the central podium. Her quantum interface projected her words directly into the language centers of each alien representative, allowing for perfect instantaneous translation. Distinguished representatives of the galactic community, she began, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. 3 months ago, humanity demonstrated something that many believed impossible: the controlled manipulation of quantum probability on a macro scale. Today, we begin sharing that knowledge with all of you. The assembled aliens shifted in their seats, many of them still struggling with the implications of what humanity had achieved. A representative of the Meridian Confluence, an ancient species known for their mastery of traditional physics, raised their appendage. Your species had no presence beyond your own solar system. The Meridian's translated voice echoed through the chamber. How did you achieve this level of quantum mastery in isolation? Helena stepped forward to answer this one. Precisely because of our isolation. While other species focused on expanding outward, humanity looked inward. We studied the fundamental nature of reality itself, not just how to traverse it. Our quantum technology wasn't born from a desire for power, but from a need to understand. The Vex diplomatic drone moved slightly forward, its multiple eyes arranging themselves in what they now knew was a gesture of respectful attention. The collective acknowledges that we fundamentally misunderstood the nature of your achievement. We saw quantum uncertainty as a threat to ordered spacetime. We failed to recognize that order and chaos could coexist in harmony. Dr. Chen nodded, activating the main quantum display. The center of the chamber filled with a real-time visualization of quantum probability streams flowing through normal space. What we've learned is that the universe isn't a battle between certainty and uncertainty. It's a dance between them. Our quantum technology doesn't violate the laws of physics. It works with them in ways we never thought possible. The display shifted, showing how the quantum probability field around Sol had actually stabilized local spacetime rather than disrupting it. The controlled uncertainty had created new forms of order, leading to breakthroughs in everything from energy production to medical science. We're not here to replace existing technologies, Helena added, addressing the unspoken fears of many representatives. We're here to complement them. Traditional physics and quantum manipulation can work together, creating possibilities neither could achieve alone. A ripple of excitement passed through the chamber as Dr. Chen activated the quantum sharing protocols. Each delegation received a carefully prepared package of data containing the basic principles of human quantum theory along with practical applications their species could safely implement. This is just the beginning, Chen continued. What humanity has achieved in isolation, we can perfect together. Each of our species brings unique perspectives and capabilities to this new understanding of reality. The Meridian representative spoke again, their tone carrying what translated as wonder. You could have kept this technology to yourselves, used it to dominate the galaxy. Why share it? Helena smiled. Because that's not who we are. Humanity's strength has never been in domination, but in adaptation and cooperation. We hid our capabilities not out of fear or aggression, but because we needed to understand them fully before sharing them safely. The quantum display shifted again, showing the possibilities that awaited them all. Ships that could navigate probability itself, medical techniques that could cure diseases by altering their quantum states, energy systems that could tap into the fundamental uncertainty of reality. The age of pure determinism is over, Dr. Chen declared. But this isn't an ending. It's a beginning. Together, we can learn to work with the true nature of our universe, finding balance between what is certain and what is possible. As the presentation continued, Helena moved to one of the quantum windows, looking out at the gathered alien ships. Each one represented a civilization that had achieved spaceflight through conventional means, mastering the visible laws of physics. Now they were all about to embark on a new journey, learning to dance with uncertainty itself. The Vex diplomatic drone approached her, its metallic surface reflecting the quantum probability streams that now flowed visibly through the air. The first mind sends a personal message. It stated, "We were wrong about humanity. You haven't destabilized the galaxy. You've shown us all a new way forward." Helena nodded, watching as more ships arrived in orbit, representatives from even more distant civilizations coming to learn what humanity had to teach. "We never wanted to fight," she said quietly. "We just wanted to understand. And now that we do, we want to share that understanding with everyone." The quantum probability field pulsed gently around them, a constant reminder of how far humanity had come. They had emerged from isolation, not as conquerors or victims, but as teachers, ready to help guide the galaxy into a new era of possibility. And in the vast darkness between the stars, reality itself seemed to hum with potential, as if the universe itself was pleased that its children were finally learning to embrace both its certainty and its mystery, finding harmony in the dance between what is and what could be.